me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine.
Tonight's Greenlight Maine is sponsored by the Finance Authority of Maine. Fame works for me.
Good evening, and welcome to Greenlight Maine, a series dedicated to showcasing the amazing talent, grit, and creativity of Maine's top entrepreneurs. These are the people who are building Maine's future one dream at a time. I'm Don Gooding, Executive Director of the Maine Center for Entrepreneurial Development and Vice Chair of the Maine Angels, Maine's largest angel investing group. I'll be your host for tonight's show, featuring two promising entrepreneurs, pitching to this evening's panel of judges for a chance at winning $100,000 in cash. Let's meet our distinguished panel of judges. The far end of the table, we have Jake Ward, who is Vice President of Innovation and Economic Development at the University of Maine. Jake, good to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to participate and see the great talent that's out there in the state of Maine.
Yep, and there's lots coming out of the university now.
Absolutely.
In between, we have Susan Morris. Susan has been a Maine Angel, an organizer for Maine Startup and Create Week, a mentor for Top Gun and Women Standing Together. You're quite involved in entrepreneurship in Maine, so welcome.
Thank you very much, and I too am very excited to see the newest talent that there is in the state.
Great. And finally, we have our sponsor for this evening. Bruce Wagner is CEO of FAME, the Finance Authority of Maine, which is one of the great resources that we have here in Maine for entrepreneurs. So Bruce, welcome. Great to have you.
Well, thank you. Great to meet, hopefully, FAME's next customers.
Yes. Well, that's awesome. So tonight, what you're going to hear are two pitches that are about 3 minutes in length. You'll have about 2 minutes to ask questions, and then at the end, you'll be able to talk among each other to figure out which one of these companies is going to get the green light going forward. So we'll be back in just a few moments with the first pitch here on Greenlight Maine.
All across Maine, you see them. Children whose parents are investing in their education after high school. If your child is eligible for the Alphon grant, no initial contribution is required to open a NextGen account. Invest in your child's future. Learn more at nextgenforme.com. Before you invest in the NextGen plan, it's important to obtain and read the program description carefully. Check if your home state has a 529 plan that offers tax or other benefits. Please visit greenlightmaine.com to follow the progress of your favorite entrepreneurs and find information and resources about becoming an entrepreneur yourself.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine, where maybe you are going to find inspiration to pursue your dream. We're here with our first presenter of the evening, Rosie Curtis, founder of Gimme Shelter. Take it away, Rosie.
Hi there. I know you all want to support us in helping to house the world. 100 million people are homeless, and 1 billion people live in shanty towns, and half the homes in those shanty towns are built by the people who live in them. There's clearly a pressing need for a simple, durable kit that local people can assemble themselves with basic skills. Gimme Shelter is a company that sells a range of shelter kits to people in need of shelter. They can be assembled and disassembled. They're sold as kits because this reduces manufacturing costs and makes transportation easier. Because they're sold as kits, they generate employment in the host country, creating jobs as well as shelter. Our kits can be customized to suit any climate or location and easily expanded for a wide variety of needs, from homes to schools to hospital wards. They're also durable enough to be reused, recycled, or dismantled when no longer needed. They have the simplest set of instructions on the planet, and someone who doesn't speak English or read or write could put together one of our shelters. Gimme Shelter intends to sell shelter kits to humanitarian aid organizations, private developers, communities, and individuals. Gimme Shelter kits can be stockpiled in shipping containers, ready for emergencies, or they can be ordered on a per-project basis. I'm an architecture professor who's been designing and building homes in Maine for the last 20 years. I have established relationships with local manufacturers throughout Maine so that we can build the kits from start to finish in Maine. Maine is an ideal manufacturing base for us because 90% of the products in our shelters are wood-based materials. My co-director, Tom Needham, is a civil engineer who's been working on humanitarian aid projects around the world for 20 years. The idea for Gimme Shelter was born in Haiti after the earthquake. Tom was working there building temporary shelters when he realized the pressing need for a simple, durable kit that local people could easily assemble themselves. We built our first prototype last summer, and we're currently constructing a full proof of concept that we can test this winter. Our goal is to have shelters beta tested in key locations around the world by next summer, and we're looking for funding and support to construct and deliver our test shelters to host communities. Thank you.
Rosie, that was an amazing pitch. Now, Bruce, at FAME, you work a lot in the construction area. What kind of questions came up in your mind?
Well, first let me say I really appreciate the social mission. I think that's really important and exciting for everyone involved. My basic question is, how do you make money at this?
Right. So we make our money through a 10% markup on the sale of our shelters and the delivery of our shelters. We anticipate about $7 million in revenue within 5 years. So we anticipate selling 5,000 kits, which will create 50 new manufacturing jobs in the state of Maine.
Wow.
And that's very expandable. If we sell more, it's easy to go to other manufacturers and make more shelters.
Thank you.
Rosie, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about the distribution channels, especially in times of crisis around the world. How does this take place and how do you make it effective?
That's a great question. So our shelters are designed as a second response. Generally, tents get sent in first because they can be airdropped, they're lightweight, but they don't protect people from floods, they're not secure, and they don't keep people warm. So within a couple of months of tents arriving, people really need to have a more long-term solution for 5 to 10 years, which at the end of the period is still dismantleable. So that's our demographic that we're aiming to serve.
Jake, question.
I'm really curious about your competition. It's a huge need. How do you fill it? Who is your competitors, and what's your competitive advantage?
One of our biggest competitor is IKEA. They've done a single-use shelter that's being beta tested right now, and it's great for what it does, but it's single-use. It can't be customized to suit different climates, and it's not designed to generate jobs. One of our competitive advantages is that we sell kits, not the finished product. So we're generating employment in the host country, and many aid programs now are designed to have cash for work programs built in as part of the work they do.
Lots to think about there. Well, thank you very much. We'll be back after a break for a discussion with Bruce Wagner, CEO of FAME, our sponsor for this evening here on Greenlight Maine.
It doesn't take much to change your entire travel experience. It's more than a flight. It's the whole trip. Connect to your world with daily non-stop flights to Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Baltimore, Charlotte, and New York City. Portland International Jetport. Way better.
We develop websites for businesses of all sizes and devices of all shapes. We develop website strategies for connecting with prospects to cultivate more business. We develop websites that are simple to use and easy to update, putting the power in your hands. All backed up by a marketing team here in Maine, ready to help your business grow. Sutherland Weston, SutherlandWeston.com.
If any of you in our television audience has a big idea, we encourage you to visit greenlightmaine.com for a list of resources and information about starting your own business.
And we're back at Greenlight Maine for a conversation with Bruce Wagner, who is the CEO of tonight's sponsor, FAME, the Finance Authority of Maine. Bruce, great to have you here.
Nice being here, Don.
So FAME, maybe not everybody has heard of it, but it's been around for more than 30 years.
That's right, and we were created to drive economic development here in Maine.
And how do you do that?
We do that with a variety of loan programs. The centerpiece of those are loan guarantees that we provide to commercial lenders who are giving out loans that they're not quite comfortable with the level of risk, and we take on some of that risk through a guarantee to make sure the loan goes through.
Gotcha. So you've got a wide variety of customers, and I understand that your organization's put together a video of these customers telling the story of these programs. So we're going to go to that video now.
Finance Authority of Maine is allowing economic development to start up again.
FAME is one of the great resources in our state to enable businesses to find financing.
So having an organization like FAME many times gets a venture off the ground.
Really, they make it easier to do business in Maine.
The whole idea is to find the right tool for the right job. FAME is the right tool for the right job because it's flexible and they're there when you need it.
Everybody loved our idea, but nobody would pull the trigger. Nobody would really help us out, and FAME did. New liquor ideas are very speculative. We needed someone to finance us to actually get the equipment. I don't think we would have been able to get this off the ground without being able to get the loan that we did from FAME.
We were a startup company. The business quickly grew, so I needed to have more working capital, but I was still such a new business that of course the banks are going to be a little bit wary. And together, FAME, the bank, and myself were able to develop a line of credit, which enabled me to really bring this business from a company of 6 people to now a company of 20 people.
There's a lot of situations where companies are good companies. They're growing, they're employing Maine people, they are making money, but for one reason or another, the collateral that they have isn't sufficient for conventional financing.
We were a young company. We had great ideas and ambitions, but kind of lacked the capital. FAME provided a platform to really build a solid agricultural enterprise here in Aroostook County.
We're investing in technology and new product innovations to help us find niche markets. The investments enabled us to produce good paper, to stay competitive, and to help keep this facility running.
FAME really works at spreading risk. Without FAME, we probably would not have the company that we do have today.
We're the largest supplier of broccoli this side of the Mississippi.
And when we started, we were the only ones that were growing our own potatoes and making it to alcohol in the world.
Pretty much anywhere there's a demand for Maine lobsters, we'll try and ship them there.
Over 25,000 guests come through here.
We employ something on the order of 150 people.
This mill is vital to the local economy.
We're growing and profitable and a really healthy company.
If it wasn't for FAME...
If it wasn't for FAME, it wasn't for FAME.
If it was not for FAME, we might not be here today.
Wow, that's amazing, Bruce. It's great to have customers like that. You've got to be proud. And I understand that this is a banner year for FAME.
It really is. We've gone from $55 million in loans last year to $85 million this year. And a lot of that's because we're doing a lot of new companies, not just companies in transition and are needing special help.
Well, that's a great resource. There are a lot more great resources for companies at greenlightmaine.com. And we'll be back after a break for our second pitch here on Greenlight Maine.
Hi, Ross here for DYSART'S restaurant. Everyone's having meetings. Meeting about this, meetings about that, meeting about meetings. How ridiculous is that? Got a meeting? Meet at DYSART'S Broadway. Look at my chart. DYSART'S Broadway's got 3 meeting rooms. A big one, a bigger one, and an even bigger one. And the big one and the bigger one can combine to be even bigger than the even bigger one. How ridiculous is that?
Great food, great service, and a great place for your meeting. DYSART'S Broadway.
Big and bigger's bigger than even bigger.
DYSART'S.com.
Ridiculous.
When it comes to health insurance, what's your priority?
Affordable office visits.
A broad network of providers.
Low monthly payments.
You know what's important to you. But finding the right plan can seem so complicated. The good news is that we can walk you through it, step by step. But you need to act soon. For affordable, quality health insurance, Maine Community Health Options, we can help.
We're back with Greenlight Maine and ready for the second presenter of the evening. We have with us Chris McKenzie, Executive Vice President from STARC Systems. Chris?
Thank you, Don. Hi, everybody. STARC Systems is an acronym. Simple, telescopic, airtight, reusable containment. Containment in this phrase is the only noun in the whole sentence. The basis behind that noun is containment in our market is a barrier that is used in renovation, restoration, and construction. The way the barriers are necessary is because whenever there's debris and contaminants kicked up with restoration and renovation, you have to protect patients, employees, as well as students, and of course visitors from any type of reconstruction going on. In the market today, there's over $50 million a month of restoration and renovation going on in healthcare throughout the country. Total, there's over $500 million a month in restoration and renovation in healthcare going on throughout the country. The traditional method for containment today is a poly, like a shower curtain, you've seen that around, or it's a temporary sheetrock wall. The name temporary is only temporary in that it's only used for a short period of time. It's the same wall that's in your living room. The contractors build it, they spend hours or days building a temporary wall, and then after the project is done, they tear it down and it becomes non-biodegradable waste. Our owner, an inventor who was perplexed, he owns a major construction firm in northern New England, was always perplexed by the cost and waste of time in addition to the hazardous waste created by creating all this debris and throwing it in the dump. Over 4 years, he brainstormed to come up with a concept, a modular concept where employees could come in, deploy a wall or a panel very quickly, and mobilize without having to create all the dust and the waste associated with temporary containment. We have come up with STARC systems, simple telescopic airtight reusable containment systems. It is a panel system. This is a miniaturized version. The employees come in and they just lay one piece down and they elevate it up to the ceiling with a simple tool. They tighten it. It's an Allen wrench, and you can put up 50 feet of wall in less than 30 minutes. It's quiet, it doesn't cause debris, and when it's done, ultimately it doesn't become hazardous waste, it's completely reusable. Our sales at this point, the first 3 months of 2015, exceed full year 2014, and we are on track to exceed forecast of $1 million in our first full year. That being said, we are experiencing a 40% reorder rate. The executive cumulative IQ of the executive team is very strong. People are going to want to work for us. We're at Tech Place at Brunswick Naval Air Station, and we can grow as fast as we need to grow for manufacturing purposes as well. That's it.
Wow, you packed in a lot there, Chris. But I'm sure there are still some questions. Jake, you want to kick it off?
Sure. I'd like to have you cover who you're selling it to and how you're selling it to them.
Thanks, Jake. At this point, we sell direct. We're selling directly to hospitals in addition to the contractors that work in the healthcare market. We have been approached by distribution and channel partners, primarily, as a matter of fact, just last week I had a meeting with a major supplier of a sheetrock who would like to see our product as somewhat of an extension of their line, somewhat of a good, better, best offering. Yeah. Apparently they don't want to miss out on the opportunity we're creating here.
That's very interesting. Susan.
Yeah, I'm a real estate developer myself, and I'm feeling cha-ching, my budget increasing. How much more expensive is this, and how do you rationalize that increase in price?
You could probably imagine that turns out to be my favorite question. Mainly due to the fact, depending on what part of the country we're in, it costs anywhere from $80 to $120 a foot to create the traditional sheetrock temporary wall. And again, that gets wasted, it gets thrown away. Okay. Ours cost right out of the factory about $350 a lineal foot. So after 3 or 4 projects, your investment is paid for.
Okay, Bruce.
All right. My avocation is, or my wife says, sometimes my permanent job seems to be renovating the house now and then. And one thing I know is I rarely find a square corner or a level surface. How does this adapt itself to irregularities that are inevitably there?
Time for a quick answer.
That's an acceptable question. We've got accessories that cover all sorts of irregularities in floor, ceilings, and walls, including soffits and handrails on the side as well.
And that'll do it for now. You can find out more on greenlightmaine.com. We'll be back to hear from the judges talking about the 2 presentations you've heard tonight on Greenlight Maine. Okay.
200,000 Mainers live with food insecurity, and this includes 60,000 children.
Kids that haven't had a chance to eat properly are not going to do as well in school, and they're going to be more likely to end up in the food pantry lines as adults.
Good Shepherd Food Bank is working to fight hunger throughout the state by partnering with local organizations, from food pantries to meal sites to schools. But we need to engage everyone in the solution. Together, we can solve hunger.
And we're back with Greenlight Maine. We've heard two great presentations this evening, and now it's time to hear from our judges as to what you thought were the pluses and minuses. So maybe, Susan, we'll start with you. The first presentation tonight was Gimme Shelter. What did you like about that one?
I thought Rosie did an amazing job of presenting and really presented a compelling case. Unfortunately, in this world, I do think we're going to see more times of need, so I think there's definitely going to be demand for her product.
Yeah, unfortunately. Jake, what did you like about it?
I really like the idea of customizing to different weather climates and different weather situations. I mean, the extreme weather events that we're seeing, flood, fire, things like that, being able to adapt to different parts of the world really is a plus.
And Bruce?
Yeah, that and tapping into local resources to assemble things. I mean, people obviously are going to pull together in a time of crisis, and having a system that's easy to assemble and pull together, I think, is great to use those resources for the people they matter the most to.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. However, like with all startups, there are challenges. So what kind of things popped to the top of your mind?
So natural disasters are pretty unpredictable, and where and how they'll occur. So there's huge distribution issues on a product like that. And with that even comes issues of having the inventory available to serve those needs on a very quick basis.
Right,
so
and probably
high cash
funding
need.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jake, what were you thinking on challenges?
I would extend that to say the cash flow available to immediately respond, and also a workforce that is ready to respond to the emergency need. Are they sitting there waiting for the accident, or are they just ramping up their employment as soon as something has to come along?
Susan, any final thoughts on challenges for Gimme Shelter?
Yeah, I'm thinking a little bit about the sales process of who makes the buying decision, how many influences there are is there government involved, approvals, environmental. I think it's going to be a long, complex sales process. So there's a little bit of a challenge there. The innovation is tremendous. It's how do you take that innovation and the prototype and really scale it up?
Right. Yeah, because if you're an early stage company, you need the cash to be able to survive all that ways. So now let's turn our attention to STARC systems, stark contrast, sorry for that. What did you like about that, Susan?
Okay, interesting, because it's a little bit of the same industry, but entirely different. With Chris and his gang, they're already up and running, and they're really trying to grow. And I think they definitely are hitting on something, especially for institutions that want to be able to build fast and also have environmental concerns. So I think there is definitely something there, and apparently there are people already buying.
Jake, what did you like about it?
Meaningfully unique. I think they're a very unique solution in a very commodity-oriented place. I think the value they bring to it, especially large institutions like ours who would value that, not only the quickness, but the look and the presence, so that when you have active places where you're doing renovation, you have that professional look going at the same time.
And Bruce, what did you like about it?
I like that, and the fact that they're going to keep the worksite clean, and their target markets are really looking for that. They're really talking about hospitals and malls and other operations that may have to continue work on the other side of that wall. So having a barrier that effectively keeps things clean, neat, and quiet, I thought was a great idea.
Yeah, but then on the challenge side, Yeah, lots of challenges there, right? Yeah. So what was top of mind?
I'm still stuck on how they fit things around irregular parts of
that's right.
the roof.
Because you were imagining your own renovations.
I just looked up in the studio and saw all the pipes and was thinking about that. But I trust that they've got solutions for that, and they wouldn't be offering their product.
It did seem like they had a bunch of different custom options. Jake?
It wasn't exactly clear how they're protecting their innovation and whether or not there's a copycat market out there immediately.
Interesting. And Susan?
Very
challenges.
quickly, I would think, again, inventory. They're selling to a company, and I see two big challenges.
Yeah.
That company is going to maybe need increasing inventory, different projects to manage, and also training. The product will only be as successful as how well it is installed, and they're going to really have to focus on their employees and whether they understand how to take them up and take them down.
Yeah. And so with all of these issues, although both of the companies are in construction, it really is quite a different take on the construction. It was interesting to see how both are leveraging the resources that we have here in Maine. So I'm looking forward to when we come back and hear how the judges are going to vote on these two amazing presenters here on Greenlight Maine. And like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
There's a reason why these Maine kids are smiling. Their parents invested in their future success with a Next-Gen College Investing Plan account. If your child is eligible for the Alphon grant, no initial contribution is required to open a Next-Gen account. Invest in your child's future and see the smiles. Learn more at nextgenforme.com. Before you invest in the Next-Gen plan, it's important to obtain and read the program description carefully. Check if your home state has a 529 plan that offers tax or other benefits.
We hope you at home will support your favorite entrepreneur tonight by going to greenlightmaine.com and clicking on their GoFundMe link. You can make a difference.
And we're back with Greenlight Maine. It's that time we've been waiting for. We've heard two great presentations. We've heard the judges talk about what they thought. And now it's time to show the audience what you think. Who's going to get the green light? That means that STARC Systems is going to be advancing to the finals for a chance to win $100,000 competing against 13 companies. If you at home want to vote for your favorite entrepreneur, go to greenlightmaine.com and you can vote with your hearts and your wallets. We'll be back in a week when two more companies are going to be competing for a chance to get the green light here on Greenlight Maine. We'll see you then.
Greenlight Maine would not be possible without the support of all of our corporate sponsors. Thank you. Greenlight Maine has been brought to you by the Finance Authority of Maine. FAME works for me. Prize money for Greenlight Maine is provided by Maine Accelerates Growth through a grant by the Maine Community Foundation, stewards of charitable giving, helping donors help Maine. Outreach and community engagement in partnership with Maine Startup and Create Week, a conference worth giving work for. Furniture for Greenlight Maine is provided by Thomas Mosier Furniture. Handcrafted American furniture since 1972. Broadcast facilities provided by NESCOM, the New England School of Communications at Husson University.
That green